Have you ever said yes when everything in you was just screaming no and possibly ended up completely drained? Or struggled where to draw the line between being kind and being taken for granted? Yeah, I've been there too. Now that's where boundaries come in. Not as rigid walls to shut people out, but as intentional gates that protect what truly matters. But hey, let's be honest, setting boundaries isn't always easy. Now, how do we do it without feeling guilty? What does God say about boundaries? Today, we're unpacking all of that. Join me in the studios as I sit down with Bralade for real conversation about boundaries in life, in love, and in our walk with God. Okay, let's go. Welcome to InsightPod, where real stories meet bold faith and purpose-driven conversations come alive. The kind of conversations that make you nod your head, take notes, and probably even rethink your whole life. Now, today we're diving into a topic that challenges so many of us, including myself: boundaries. You know, those invisible lines that protect your peace but somehow still manage to offend people. Now, how do we set them? Why do you need them? How do we honor God and ourselves in the process? How do we protect our hearts without hardening them? Now, to help us unpack all of that, I'm joined by a wonderful friend, an incredible woman, someone whose voice carries wisdom, depth, and a whole lot of grace. She's an engineer by training, an author by passion, a speaker with purpose, and also a devoted mother and a loving wife. She's wise, warm, and wonderfully real. Please help me welcome the one and only Bralade Eminajo. Welcome. All right, welcome Bralade to InsightPod.
Thank you so much. Super excited to be here.
I like the smile.
Yeah.
Always smiling. Always smiling.
I saw a data once. It said children smile 400 times a day. You know how many times adults smile?
I don't know.
40.
40
Yeah.
times.
So basically our smiles diminish 90% by the time we're older. So I'm trying to make up for all those times I didn't smile.
But, and this is not our topic, but sometimes I don't smile because of the children after the whole.
I guess they stole our smiles.
Exactly my point. Exactly my point. Well, it's really nice having you here. I mean, it's such an honor having you here today. We're going to delve into the topic for today, which is boundaries. Oink. Boundaries, right?
Boundaries.
Boundaries. All right. So where do I start? Let's kind of level set. Is it selfish to set boundaries?
Yeah, there's this psychologist that came up with the term selfhood. Certain words have connotations.
Correct.
Like you hear a word like firm, and it seems like the person is strict, right? But selfhood is that balance between selfishness and selflessness, where you prioritize your purpose, your person, and your people. That's where it is. So, a boundary selfish if your purpose, your person, and your people. And when I say your person, like your well-being, right, your personality, if they're honored. And people call it selfish, that's fine. But I'd ask you to use the word selfhood. And I think Jesus, no one really embodied that like Jesus. No matter how much in service he was to the people, he never forgot about himself. He always took time out. If he had to retreat, he retreated. If he had to go to the cross and break his mother's heart. I mean, think about it. Would you want to die if you knew it would break her heart? So he could have easily given that up. But who he was, what his purpose was a lot more important than whoever he had to say no to or whatever he had to say no to. So that's what boundaries essentially are. They are in service of yourself being in service to God. So they're important.
Rewind. I need to hear that again.
They are in service of yourself being in service to God.
Wow.
Yeah. And when you're in service to God, essentially you're helping humanity. So who are you helping really? When you say no, ultimately it might even be that very person you say no to.
So would you say boundaries, or do you believe boundaries is about manipulation or manipulating?
Yeah. I mean, anything could be used for any purpose, right? If If I know that saying no to this person will make them do something for me, that's where you start to get into manipulation, anticipating the action of another person because of what you do, instead of just saying no. So let me give you an example. You meet a woman on the street, she decides she likes you, Pastor Dimeji. She doesn't really care. You've been married for 17, 18 years. When you say no, are you expecting for her to come on stronger to you?
No.
When you say no, do you think she's just going to leave you alone?
Not really.
You know, it's really independent of what she's going to do. Manipulation is when you start anticipating what the person will do and start taking responsibility for that. And in truth, that's where narcissism is born. It's a mindless spiraling of this manipulative type spirit. So boundaries aren't supposed to be manipulative. And at some point, you have to be true to yourself. Are you really saying no in defense of those three things: your purpose, your person, your people? Or are you saying no just so you can get a response from someone and have people serve you in a way that doesn't serve them? It isn't manipulative just to say no. That is the action in itself. But if it is made to cause another person to take an action, then it most definitely is manipulative. And that's why even the people being said no to should have boundaries. Because then you don't fall easily. If I suddenly go crazy, Pastor Dimeji, and I want to manipulate you and I start saying these things, you should have enough boundaries to know where, hey, I know she's a generally reasonable person, but yeah, I'm just not going to.
Crossing the line, correct.
I'm just not going to go for that. Yes, it is crossing a line.
Awesome. This question has always, kind of bothered me over time, and sometimes it applies to me, and I guess at some point in life it has applied to you. Can you truly love someone and keep a firm boundary in place, or does love require full access?
Man. I feel like one of the coldest hearted people by our definition is God. I really do.
Talk to me.
Watch your son Jesus be beaten. Just imagine, would you send your son Jesus to go die for a stiff-necked people?
I sure wouldn't.
And then you watched him. It's one thing to kind of purpose it in your heart, but then you watch him go through it. And at no point did you intervene and be like, but what did he do? He gave Jesus the right to stop it at any time. But he didn't impede that process. Anytime I think of boundaries, setting boundaries, enforcing them, or honoring other people's boundaries, I think about God. If God is willing to look at us, walk our way to hell, he does everything, of course, to convince us otherwise. But come on now. If it were your child, will you watch your child walk into the road?
It will not.
But every day it happens with us. But what does he tell us? He sets his boundaries. He cannot take over our will. And whenever we're working with people, as parents, especially as ministers, as leaders, coaches, we see what is best for a person, but it is not our action to choose for them. We cannot choose for them. At some point, we need to realize, hey, to honor you, to love you, is to watch you walk into that oncoming train, but tell you the truth. And I don't know how else to put it. It's really hard. I can't even say I could do it, right? But it's really hard. But it's something that we have to love a person so much that we recognize the authority to govern themselves. Sometimes we don't do that.
Just to piggyback off a previous question, can you really truly say you've forgiven someone and yet you still keep boundaries in place?
Yes, absolutely, yes. A person can only get as much access as their capacity to handle that access. Yeah. You don't just let your children have everything you have. You love them beyond words, unconditionally. But you can't let them have access to the safe that has a gun. I'm not saying it has a gun, I'm just saying. Right? The capacity to handle it, or you're in the bedroom with your wife, is just like you have to knock before you come in. Come on, that's your child.
Yep.
Born from your loins. What you have is theirs, what they have is yours. Yet you still, anytime I'm in a relationship where the only response a person has to me is yes, I know I'm in dangerous territory, and I know I'm dealing with a level of maturity that is pretty low for me to bring my full self in. Because if the person is prone to people pleasing, eventually it'll end up in resentment.
Correct.
Now, even if it doesn't end up in resentment, I'm in danger of impeding that person's progress and purpose, because who knows what they should have been doing with the time, the resources. Because remember, anytime you say yes, you're giving your resources. You're giving your time, your money, your attention. And resources are scarce, man. We only have one life. Yeah.
Wow. And now, what do you have to say to people that actually have guilt once they set boundaries? You allow people access into your lives, and then you cut off access. At least probably in some cases you cut up total. That's it. You're done. Time out. You're done. And in some cases you reduce the access that you give them. And sometimes people feel guilt about doing that. Ooh. One of the things the scripture says is, seldom go to your neighbor's house lest he hates you. So maybe when that realization comes, and then you cut back on sometimes, really literally going to your neighbor's house, or just, what do you say to people that actually deal with guilt?
It's hard, man. Ooh, it's hard because, first of all, socially, we've been taught culturally, if you were born in a family in, what you call those, in-group cultures, those collectivist cultures. Correct. That maybe you're in the diaspora, you're not in your native land. There's a way that we live. There's a way we watch out for each other. There's a way we're supposed to be there unconditionally.
Correct. Yeah.
For each other. That it gives you that guilt. Why? Because it's noble. It's noble. It's noble for you to be there for someone. You get it? Then also our faith. We hear of this God who sent his son to die for us and all, but we don't look at the details, the daily details of their lives and the choices they made that got them to their ultimate purpose. So to your question, we will feel guilt. But it's the same way you felt guilt when you were sending your son to school and he was crying and your heart was breaking.
Correct.
But you knew that there was an end to this thing. So if you have a friend, you have a spouse, you have a child, that you see that this relationship is getting tenuous, I would say get over your guilt so that you can save that relationship. Your temporary peace, I call it pseudo peace, is not worth it in the moment. When you don't speak, when a spouse is like, this just came out of the blues. I didn't even know she was angry. I didn't even know he was angry. What's been happening? Just the pressing down. And the day that person responds, it's like, you did science as well, the elastic limit.
Yeah, correct.
This is why we don't like glass. It's a very tough material, but let it get a chip. That's the end. If it's rubber, it keeps stretching. The danger sometimes with rubber is that it stretches to a point where it loses its tensile strength. It stretches, it doesn't break, but it is no longer what it is. It cannot serve the purpose for which it was made for. So I would say the guilt is not worth you giving away your no for. Let's work around the guilt, right? And this is why I coach people. That's stuff I can help with. But your no cannot be. It's just like quitting school because it's hard. It is hard. I'm not going to lie. It's easy to people please. We love it.
Yes.
Society rewards us.
There's also an intrinsic feeling of, I'm pleasing people, even at our own detriment.
It's hard. Remember, the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Foxes have holes.
Yep.
Who did Jesus say that to? And why did he say that? Do you remember? Yeah, someone was like, I want to follow you all your days. I want to be with you. And he's like, who are you following? I ain't got time for that. I'm focused on my focus. And he basically dissed the person. Jesus, come on now. Okay.
Now, this is getting quite interesting. Yeah. So practically, how can you draw boundaries or you set lines and yet extend grace?
Ephesians chapter 15. I don't know if your phone's anywhere near.
It's not, but I'm sure I can pull it up.
Okay, if you could pull it up. Ephesians chapter 4, actually. Ephesians doesn't have 15. Ephesians chapter 4, start from 15. Start from 14. I think 14 to 16, if you can read that. Because there's something about maturity that leads to boundaries. It's just beautiful the way the Bible connects it.
Ephesians 4, 14 through 16.
Yes, please.
All right. So that we should no longer be children, tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine by trickery of men, in the cunning craftiness of deceitful plotting.
Now, the Bible just told us not to be children, right?
Yes.
So you're waiting to hear, well, what does not being children mean? What does maturity show up as? And you're thinking of valiant things, visionary things. Read the next verse.
So verse 15, but speaking the truth in love.
Come on, say that again.
Speaking the truth in love may grow up in all things into him who's the head, Christ.
So one of the sure signs that you're no longer a child is your ability to speak the truth in love. Not by yelling, not by manipulation, not by even weakness. Just speaking the truth in love. And as Christians, many times we've been guilty of either or. You have people who just love and love and love themselves to death. And they're welcomed at the pearly gates, but without any crowns, because they weren't able to do what they were supposed to do. And then you have the ones who just speak the truth. And it's just, when two pieces of metal kind of grind against each other, it's just, you can't even hear. It's irritating. You don't want to hear it, because truth that's not served with love is not Christ.
Truth that is not served with love is not Christ.
Both have to come together. There has to be a tenderness and a veracity about what we're saying. And for me, truth isn't just, I'm just going to tell you, you're this person. The person might be that, but is it the truth in the gospel? So when I see people and when I hold people accountable, it's because I know they have the capacity within them to show up as the Christ they are. And that's why one of the things I say, if you ask my husband, he'll tell you, I don't let things go. And this is the moment that you rewind and say, maybe she didn't really say that. Maybe I didn't hear it. I do not let things go, because if I truly deeply love you, I care enough to revisit a matter that we have.
But what if you try to revisit the matter and I'm very adamant, I'm very defensive.
Yeah.
I'm very dogmatic about my own point of view. How do you just transition into, you know what, I'm done. I'm setting boundaries and that's it.
Yeah. To be naked is not to be ashamed. I'm willing to come to you with truth in love and not be received.
And not be received.
Yes. I mean, who does that every day? Jesus does. God does. Every day, people all over the world hear the gospel.
Well, you keep getting hurt. You're not Jesus. You know that, right?
Well, that's the thing. I owe you the truth. Now, I might not tell you again, depending on how you receive it. Now, I might set the kind of boundaries that protect me from your level of defensiveness or even vilification. Sometimes when people come after you for telling them the truth, right? Yeah. I will protect myself. But if I truly love you, I owe it to you to tell you the truth. Now, how I tell you the truth is the part I feel like a lot of us have to learn. And telling you the truth doesn't mean walking around you looking for every little thing you do. But if I'm in, especially if you're in a relationship with someone, you say this person is your spouse. You love this person and they've hurt you. Or you feel they've hurt, because sometimes we hurt people inadvertently, right? Yeah. In fact, sometimes what they even say is hurt, it was supposed to be a good thing, but they're hurt nonetheless. I want to know. I want to know. Even today, I was just counseling a couple, and the spouse was upset, and he was saying, well, why would she report? And then I said, do you care to know that she's hurt, or do you care about the report? Let's kind of get to the source of the upset. Do you care? What is the part that bothers you the most? If everything were normal, guess what? Some people don't care.
Correct.
But if I'm like, Dimeji, are we good? And then you're like, you know what, brother? Not really. Like the other time you said something, or I feel like the way you show up late when we're supposed to, it affects me. Now, it's up to me. I could apologize, or I could say, you know what, Dimeji, that's how I show up. If we're going to be in this friendship, you have to take me like that. And guess what? You then have to set boundaries. You're probably not going to be calling your engineering crew if you know I'm coming. You wait till I get here before you make any plans, because you're just like, I can't plan around you.
So that's actually part of setting boundaries.
Yes. So boundaries are anything that limit your exposure to certain things. Boundaries are your fence. No one would ever build a house and not fence it. Okay, have you ever woken up and you saw your neighbor planting in your yard?
They better not. They better
What
not.
if they were planting something beautiful?
Well, we could talk about that. But
Exactly.
yeah.
The first thing is we could talk about.
Yeah.
Like, people don't have the right to come into your life without permission. If you say, you know what, I have these beautiful roses, I want to come plant in your garden, you'll be like, come yesterday. I want it. And that's why we have a gate. You let people in, and you can also let people out. But some people build these tall fences. They don't let anyone in. Well, it's just them. They've boxed themselves in. They don't let anyone in. Or they leave it open and they complain that people trespass.
Let's visit, the people that build fences around their lives, and for whatever reason, and they don't let people in. Yeah. Could it possibly be because they've been hurt?
Yeah.
They've maybe not even been hurt. They've heard stories of.
That's true. Secondary trauma.
Exactly. Secondary trauma, right? Like they've heard stories of people doing the same thing, extending certain measure of grace, and then they've been hurt. So it's like, I want to protect myself, rightfully so, and they do.
Yeah.
I mean, should that even be the case at all?
It's hard, man. And these are the things. When I say set boundaries, I'm trying to save your relationship. Like, that is my intent. My intent is not to destroy relationships, fracture families. No, it is to ensure the legacy of those relationships, because it is a given. If two people say they've never confronted each other, they've never had any conflict, it's about to break.
Yep. They're not genuine. Yeah. That's how I see it.
Just never. Nothing. Not even about the weather. Not even about. Have you seen people arguing about the shade of green? That they like, come on. Do you guys really have real? Even the Bible says God, at some point, God talked to his people and said, "Come and reason." Let's reason, me. Let's reason together. So, the question is that why do people fence themselves? And we know the reasons why, but is it worth it? Is it worth it? The only reason why we're on this earth with each other is so that together we have a community. Individually we have ourselves, but together we have a community. The community is more powerful than the individual. Now, the individual is the ultimate, because I don't know why God said that when we get to heaven we'll all come in one by one. Did that ever perplex you? You can't not until now.
Not until now. I mean, you expect them to be there, but you go in individually. Not
even with your spouse. I thought God honored marriage. I mean, think about it. This is such an individual relationship that you start to see that his purpose can be fulfilled in you, but with others, for others, but in you first. So it is worth it to do that work of healing, of questioning the things you believe. Why aren't you talking to your mother-in-law? Because you hear that if you get too close to her, this and that will happen. The whole, those Proverbs and Psalms. Do you know what you might be missing? You don't. Till you expose yourself.
In some cases, I have a wonderful and amazing mother-in-law, by the way. But in some cases, some mother-in-laws, I mean, it could be from the husband or the wife. There could be a pain.
Yeah. Love is worth getting hurt for. Love is worth it.
He didn't just say that.
I did. Love is worth getting hurt for. If you've never been hurt by love, maybe you haven't exposed yourself enough. It's a beautiful thing. I don't know how to explain it.
But that's the problem. Why do I expose myself when my heart might just be broken?
Yeah, because there's the promise of love. There's the promise that this could be a beautiful thing. There's the promise that this person is worth my heart. And there's no other way to truly love without being vulnerable. And what is the very definition of vulnerability? It's exposing yourself, both to love and to hurt. It's such a beautiful thing that one can't come without the other. So when someone you love tells you that they're hurt, you can't take that lightly, because they're being vulnerable. I really do think we need to honor ourselves more. If you ever come to me and tell me you're hurt, it doesn't matter how right I think I am. The first thing I do is hold you. And when I say hold you, be there for you. First, oh my gosh, you're hurt. I'm sorry you're hurt. I'm not even talking about my matter now. Right? And if we extend that level of grace to each other, truth is just a natural, it follows. Truth that's why the Bible talks about grace and truth, not truth and grace. There's order in these things.
Correct.
Grace and truth. Because if we're able to receive each other like that, the way God would receive us, I think we would go far. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, and I'm sure you probably have experienced it in the past. Have you had to set boundaries to someone that you truly, truly cared about?
Yeah.
And then things just went south?
Woo. And then things just went south.
What did you do?
Yeah. I'm a people pleaser by nature. I sat down and I said, what is so wrong with this phrase? I mean, don't you want people to be happy?
Yeah, but not at your detriment all the time.
I understand, but first of all, just on the face of it, people pleaser. Yeah, I want people. I'm a joy giver. I like
that joy giver. I like joy giver.
I expect people to smile as a result of their interaction with me. That used to be the first level, but later I started expecting people to be better by encountering me. Better sometimes means tears. I think for me, I will use a staff member. And it is this thing where you're saying the same thing. And you see, sometimes people think manipulation is from a position of authority. Sometimes it's from a position of inferiority or subordination, right? Where anytime someone tries to correct you, you make the person choose between good and bad. Oh, so now you're saying I'm all bad. So no one can really critique you about anything because it would mean them destroying your whole self-image. And this is why your self-image cannot be so fragile that you cannot receive feedback. It just can't be. Who you are is separate from what you did. Who you are is separate from your behavior. My favorite boundary story in the Bible is the Prodigal Son. Story. Yeah. And that father, if he were Nigerian, we would summon him to the village meeting because how would you give your son all of that?
After all he did.
Not even after all he did.
Oh, before.
Now before.
Yeah, before.
What did the son say? I want my hair. Why you give it?
I want my share. My inheritance.
Now, did the father not know what he was going to do with it?
I think he knew.
He knew the state of this son.
Yeah.
But this is a message to parents. If you have a child that's older than 18 years old, your hold is limited. In fact, even at 16, your hold is limited. The sooner you acknowledge it, the better it is for you and them. And so that you don't break what could be possible, because you need that relationship to be existing to be able to fix things when they eventually go bad. And the relationship is worth more. And see, grace and truth, speaking the truth in love, the relationship, the grace and the love are worth a lot more. So what did he do? He gave the son all those things. So anytime anybody is, when God gives you your life and all those things, you are the custodian of it. Can the Holy Spirit live it better? Probably. Yeah. Is he the one answering your name? No. He can tell you, he can encourage you, he can empower you. Who makes the decisions?
You do.
It's you. So anyway, he gives the son all these things. He knows he's going to squander it. He goes squandering everything. Then we normally fall on the side of enablement, right? What would a good father, what we call a good father? He would go and look for him in the pigsty. Somebody would have told him, your son is here. And you'll be like, what will I do? I cannot abandon my son. What would he do?
Yep.
He would go there and say, look at you now.
Yep.
Is this the kind of life you should be living?
Yep.
You would tell your wife, her friends, everybody would go and be talking to, trying to reason with him. If the son had come back in that state, he wouldn't have learned. The ability of the father to see the man in him, to allow him to choose whether wrong or right, to allow somebody to choose to behave in the way that they choose while setting boundaries. What did he do? He wasn't out on the streets crying every day.
Yeah.
From all accounts, the man was living his life.
Yep.
When he came out, or when the son came, he was always ready, but there was a boundary. The boundary was his entrance. He wasn't going to go beyond there to seek for another person, but his door was always open. So this man's door was always open. And once the son came, he didn't give conditions. Oh, now you've come back.
Nope.
Because sometimes we're like the other brother. How can you just receive this person? Because I didn't have to suffer the consequences of his actions.
What if you had to suffer the consequences of someone's actions?
then it's
what do you do?
Yeah, it's on you. It's not on the person. Because there's something called enmeshment. So we have codependency on one side, and we have complete independence. Then we have interdependence in the middle.
Correct.
One is like you and I are so joined together. Your actions, your decisions, everything affects me.
Like in marriage sometimes.
Yeah. Or someone very close to someone, a family member or something goes to prison and the person is done for life. Or someone passes and like your life ceases at that moment. That is a level of codependency you don't want. Your spouse wakes up feeling upset and all of a sudden your day is gone. That's too much codependence. You make your decisions because your father asked you to. That's codependence. Interdependence is don't tell me, no one to advise me, no one has the right. You are just all for yourself with yourself. Nobody's decision affects you. You don't go out of your way for anybody, nothing. We're called to this healthy place of independence. The Bible says we should all carry our load. But then it says you should help your brother, you should support. But it doesn't mean drop your own load and carry your brother's load. You have yours. We all have ours to carry. So I would say it is by being like that. I think sit down with that prodigal son, that prodigal father, actually, because the word prodigal means this openness, this generosity, graciousness. It is the father that was that. But thank God the son could respond. Now, that is also an example of a no that's not manipulative. He didn't go to save him. He respected his choice, but he wasn't going to go out of his way. And when I say out of his way, he was going to respect. In fact, it was easier for him to go out of his way. It's easier for us to rescue people sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
But we have to let people suffer the consequences of their action. Your child is having to repeat a class and you're trying to bribe your way through, force your way through. You don't know the kind of person they will become through that process. We want to stop everything bad happening so much that we don't let people go through what they were supposed to go to.
We want to play superhero. We want to play God sometimes.
And it shouldn't be. We should offer our help, but if we hear a no, we should be willing to accept it.
Don't you think, Bralady, that people don't set boundaries because you're not sure of their identity?
Ooh, that's a big one. Absolutely.
Talk to me.
If you're like, brother, be here every day, we're doing the podcast and everything, guess what? This is a good thing. I will be excited. So if I don't know what I was called to, if I don't know who I am, I will be all around here every day following you to do this without tying it to who I am.
The purpose.
Or how it serves, yes, my purpose. So sometimes the no's aren't... they're just because we don't yet know who we are. We don't know what we're called to. And then we cannot appropriate our resources, even our feelings, appropriately. You might be in that relationship, even abusive marriage or toxic work place and all these things because you don't know who you are apart from this person. There's no life beyond. Meanwhile, someone else might stay in that place and it's for a purpose. They already know who they are, but they know what purpose they came to serve in there. You are not the same people having the same experience. One has boundaries. Hey, if you decide to wake up mad today, I'm fine. Yeah, let me use a personal one. When I first got married, I didn't know people used to have moods. Yeah, I grew up in a household. We were always happy. Just that the sun is shining used to give us joy. And my boo was just he was so enamored by me, so in love with me. So leading up to the,
and he's still in love with you, by the way.
I didn't see all these things. And we started waking up. Sometimes they would wake up with a straight face. And I used to be so concerned. Like, oh my gosh, what happened? And all? And he would say nothing. And I used to be all those kind of people then. I used to be like, oh, maybe this nothing is just an invitation to conversation. Look, next time anyone tells me nothing, I believe them. If you tell me nothing's wrong with you, please honor. The next time someone tells you that, honor them by believing them. They might be resentful later, but it'll be good because when someone's an adult, you believe their words. You honor their words, not the look on their face. That's infantilizing someone. So eventually, let me finish the story. Okay. Eventually, I learned that it wasn't really about me. Sometimes it was the news. Sometimes it was an ache. Sometimes it just didn't see a reason to smile. And I had to honor his independence in that manner. So what I started doing was asking, is this about me? Is this about us? Is that something we should talk about? He's like, no. So now he's so good. He just lets me know, like, I'm just in the funk. It's not you.
So maybe that's the caveat, right?
Yeah.
Like if it's not about you both, and it could be in terms of friends or, then it's okay.
Yes.
But if it's about you both, then I think it's
of course it's worth
delving into and
resolving.
resolving. Because some people
Absolutely.
will say, "Hey, nothing," because they just want that. Just how bad do you want me to be? And we're humans, and it could go both ways, right?
I want to encourage people. Right now, it might not be necessary, or you might not think it's necessary in your relationship, but it really, really does honor the other person when you speak forthrightly. Now, you might not say everything. You might say, I don't even know if you're ready to hear what I had to say right now.
I like that.
Or you might say, we're going away this weekend. Let's talk about it then. Or you can say, I'm still so upset about this thing, but give me a couple of days to kind of work it through. Because sometimes you might be upset for something you're not supposed to be upset about. It doesn't mean you're not upset. In fact, the person may have apologized. You're still upset. What do? At this point, it's about you. And you should take that time to fix it. But communicate. We can communicate when we're still mad.
Correct.
I don't know why sometimes we make it an all or nothing. We can disagree on a topic and still have a relationship. And when I say I don't let things go, it's not like I walk around fighting and looking for apologies. No, I communicate because I want to be naked and unashamed. Now, realize your relationships are in levels. Yeah. You have your spouse, you have God. Like God.
Yeah.
Do you ever go to God and you're like nothing?
Yeah.
He's just like, I see your
He's
soul.
like, I see you.
What are we doing here? But sometimes you could just be there worshiping because you're not yet ready to pour your heart out.
And that's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
And I find myself there a lot of times where I'm not willing. I mean, I know he knows, but I'm not willing to tell him.
It's like, don't let him go there right now.
I think this has truly been insightful. But one question, what do you say to people that have truly struggling to set boundaries?
Yeah.
They know it's the right thing to do, right? Yeah. They've, in some cases, family members who take advantage of them. They have friends who take advantage of their vulnerability. And they know that they have to set boundaries, but they're either scared to set boundaries or they're just not emotionally strong enough. They don't have that tenacity to set boundaries. What do you say to people like that?
What I'll say to people, first of all, buy my books. Get my books. I wrote 2 books on boundaries because it was so hard for me to especially get through to my community, which usually Christians. The word sounds like a taboo word, and we think it's only when there's a problem we should set boundaries. But I wrote a few fiction stories because I wanted people to see. People can see something that's wrong when it's outside them. Remember David and Nathan explaining to David, hey, this is what you did. Yep. But David couldn't have received it except he heard it in a story. So this is essentially what I do in this book. And in the back of the book, I give you 10 steps to setting boundaries. That's one. The second one is A Tale of Two Wives, where I write about Sapphira and Abigail. 2 women, married to difficult men, and how they both navigated essentially similar situations so differently. And with so much different outcomes. So they're the kind of boundaries you set in healthy relationships and in unhealthy relationships. I talk about that. But I will just tell it real briefly. The first thing you have to do is educate yourself. What is this relationship? Is it worth my investment? What are we doing right now? Who's this person? Who am I? You start with that level of reflection. What are the things that upset me? And when I say upset, I don't just mean anger. What are the things that don't serve me in this relationship? Everything might just be good. You might just be smiling and stuff. But you know that some of the habits you're picking up here aren't serving you. You know some of the places you go out where you want to go. What are the things that don't serve me, don't serve my purpose? This is where you have to know yourself before all of these. And then you have an action plan before you ever go meet the person. Sometimes we preempt things. Just like that son and that father having that conversation. If they had it a few months before, the son had money. He didn't have that interest. He didn't have, all of that. So remember the woman at the well with Jesus. There had to be a moment. You had to separate yourself. So make an action plan. He had a plan. That's why he told the disciples to all go. He didn't just see her and in front of the disciples start talking. It would have been a completely different outcome. So review, have a plan. The best boundaries are delivered with a plan. And when you have that plan, I would say confront the person. People don't like that word confront. But confronting just means being willing to be vulnerable again. Those aren't you conversations. Those are I conversations. This is how I felt when you, this is what I think when you, this is how this thing doesn't serve me. Make it about yourself, because you might be infringing on someone else's liberties and rights. They have a right to do what they want to do. You just have a right to do what you want to do as well. So have that conversation. Now, a boundaries conversation isn't complete without consequences. So every boundaries conversation must have a consequence. And sometimes the consequence is, if this happens again, I'll tell you. Or, hey, I notice you're defensive. I'm going to stop talking about this. But we really can't get past, such and such a thing, or we really can't do this thing again till we're able to, I hope we're able to talk about this thing at some time when you're less charged, and you start by that. Something I didn't say before, right before this confrontation, the conversation starts with acknowledgement. You've been part of enabling this behavior in some way. So you acknowledge, hey, I never really did say anything. Or, hey, I was there. Whatever it was, acknowledge that you had a part in it, if you did, right? This is not those cases where crazy people do crazy things. But so after you do that, maintain your consequences. You want to maintain your consequence. If you said, if you keep coming late, I won't be there at the restaurant. Don't end up waiting 2 hours for that person. They're never going to change. You'll always be there. They'll always tell you sorry. Live a life beyond boundaries, a life where you get into relationships that you know that you both have the same values, or you're willing to honor each other's boundaries, willing to have respect, just for the human. I might not agree with some people. I just will never allow myself to disrespect them. Or if I do, I will have the onus eventually to recognize, to apologize to those people. I think I'll end with this one. Realize there are 3 types of people. All of these conversations we've been having are for 3 types of people. Safe people. Wise people, evil people, and foolish people. Wise people, a word is enough for them. A word is enough for the wise. You just tell them, and then the second one is foolish till they face a consequence. It's just like how the Bible says foolishness is bound in the heart of a child. Till they face a consequence, they never change. They're like, I guess you're so serious. You're serious about that, Dimeji. You never told me, But they meet the consequences. They behave. At work, we do contingent reward. You're paid for stuff. If you don't deliver, you meet a consequence. And the final one is evil people. And Dr. Henry Cloud, who's a boundaries coach, he would say, those ones are for lawyers, guns, and the police. Like, that's who they're for. They mean you harm. And you know those kind of people in your life. There's no reasoning with them. You're reasoning with them. They can still decide to harm you or something. That one, you might want to, limit as much as possible contact with them, because it's who they are. They harm people. So let's kind of educate ourselves on the people around us.
Brother, it's been an amazing and insightful time just hanging out with you and just talking about boundaries. Truly, I want to get you back here because you are a hand and a mouthful. So you've heard it all from the coach, mentor, the sister, the friend. Such an amazing heart, Braladi. Thank you very much for coming today. Thank you so much.
Super excited to be
here. And
I
truly hope that folks, and I know folks are blessed. That was just a lot coming from you. And again, boundaries are things that we set. I think we evaluate boundaries. Yes. We let people come in at different times and we let them go at different times. You are the CEO of your life.
Come on.
You are the CEO of your life, and you can hire and fire anybody at any time. Well, the good thing though is, or the right thing to do is to fire and hire how God wants you to do it. So I don't.
And between hiring and firing, there's managing.
There's managing.
Let's not rush to hire and fire.
Come on now. And managing actually is the hardest part.
Yes,
it's the hardest part. But it's been awesome just hanging out with you. Thank you so much again, Braladi. Thank you so much for coming. Sincerely appreciate you. One final word for your audience.
InsightPod, definitely subscribe. This is a great work that you're doing. I appreciate it. And remember, if you don't remember anything, remember, love is about being vulnerable. It is worth it. Your family, your friends, your everything, the people who are dear to you, they are worth sometimes getting hurt over. But it is your personal responsibility to mind again your purpose, your person, and your people. And I wish you the best as you go about setting boundaries.
Thank you so much. Thanks for hanging out with us on InsightPod. Hey, if this episode stirred something in you or helped you see things differently or even made you smile, do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, and don't keep it to yourself. And please send it to someone who needs it. Until next time, keep walking in purpose, stay curious, and stay connected. I'm Dimeji Oladele, and this is InsightPod. See you soon.